Night driving along the long stretch of highway was nearly deserted, save for the occasional pair of headlights that flickered in the distance before vanishing into the darkness. Adam checked the clock on his dashboard. 2:47 a.m. His eyelids were heavy, and his coffee had long since lost its effect. He should have stopped at a motel, but he was determined to make it home by dawn. The road was flanked by dense forests on both sides, the towering trees forming an endless tunnel of shadow. The hum of his tires on the asphalt was the only sound besides the occasional rustle of wind through the trees. He turned on the radio, but all he got was static. Then he saw it. A figure on the side of the road, standing motionless. It was a woman, dressed in a tattered white dress, barefoot, her hair cascading in tangled waves over her face. Adam's heart kicked in his chest. Hitchhikers weren't uncommon, but something about her felt wrong. Her posture was rigid, her arms hanging limply by her sides. She didn't move as he approached. Adam swallowed hard. He had always heard stories of ghostly apparitions appearing on lonely roads, but that was just folklore, wasn't it? As he drove past, she lifted her head slightly. Her face was pale, almost luminescent in the glow of his headlights. But it was her eyes that sent a chill down his spine, wide, black, and staring straight at him. His instincts screamed at him to keep driving, but his hands, as if possessed by some unseen force, slowly began to turn the wheel. Before he even realized it, he was pulling over. "What the hell am I doing?" he muttered under his breath. She hadn't moved. Adam hesitated before rolling down the passenger window just a crack. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" No response. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "You shouldn't be out here." Adam's skin prickled. "Why not? He's coming." A cold shiver ran down his spine. "Who?" The woman's lips barely moved, but he heard her answer clear as day. "The man in the fog." Adam's heart pounded in his chest. He glanced around. The road was empty. No fog, no sign of anyone else. Just an eerie silence pressing against his ears. He turned back to the woman, but she was gone. His breath caught in his throat. She had vanished as if she had never been there. No footprints, no trace of her at all. Adam slammed the gas pedal, his tires screeching as he sped off down the highway. His mind raced. Had he imagined her? Was it exhaustion playing tricks on him? He tried to shake it off, but something deep in his gut told him that this was only the beginning. A few miles down, the fog started rolling in. It was sudden, thick, and unnatural, swirling across the pavement like ghostly fingers reaching for him. His headlights barely penetrated the dense white mist. He slowed down, gripping the wheel tightly, every muscle in his body tense. Then he saw it's something moving in the fog. A tall, dark figure walking straight down the center of the road. Adam's breath hitched. He couldn't see its face, but he could feel its gaze. He pressed the horn, but the sound came out distorted, warping into something unnatural. Then, the figure started running. Straight at him. Panic shot through Adam as he slammed his foot on the gas, his tires squealing against the pavement. But no matter how fast he went, the figure kept up. It was impossible. It wasn't running, it was gliding, moving like a shadow stretched by an unseen force. And then it was gone. Adam gasped, his hands shaking on the wheel. He looked in the rearview mirror. The figure was sitting in his back seat. A wide, black grin stretched across its face. Adam screamed. The car swerved wildly as he lost control, the tires skidding on the asphalt. He yanked the wheel, trying to steady himself. When he looked back in the mirror, nothing. His chest heaved as he pulled over, his whole body trembling. He had to get a grip. He had to get out of here. Taking deep breaths, he reached for his phone. No signal. A faint tapping sound echoed in the silence. It was coming from his window. Slowly, he turned his head. The woman in white was there, her face pressed against the glass. Only this time, her mouth was twisted in a silent scream, and behind her, the man in the fog was waiting. And he was smiling. Adam's body locked in fear as the door handle began to rattle. His heartbeat pounded in his ears. The fog thickened, engulfing the car completely, suffocating him in a damp, freezing embrace. His vision blurred as the whispers started. Indecipherable, chilling, all around him. Then, the door clicked open. Darkness rushed in. Adam jolted awake, gasping for breath. His hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white. The car was still, parked on the side of the road. The fog had lifted, the world outside eerily silent. He checked his phone 3:12 a.m. Had he blacked out? Dreamed it all? His hands trembled as he reached for the ignition. The car sputtered, but didn't start. A cold sweat broke over his forehead. Then, in the rearview mirror, a pair of black eyes. The whisper returned, close to his ear, this time, "Keep driving." Adam slammed his foot on the gas, and this time, the car roared to life. He didn't care where he was going, as long as it was away from here. His speedometer climbed, but the road seemed endless, stretching into nothingness. His headlights flickered. The radio turned on by itself, static giving way to a voice, his own voice, distorted and hollow. "You shouldn't be out here." A scream built in his throat, but before he could react, the car plunged into darkness. The road was gone. The world around him disappeared into a black void. Then, silence. A week later, authorities found Adam's car abandoned on the roadside. The engine was running, the driver's seat empty. No signs of struggle, no footprints leading away. Just a single handprint on the fogged-up glass. A perfect black handprint.